Ladies and gentlemen, I know this has been the most requested, recommended video. And so, yeah, this is it. How to make an effective study timetable, like the practical ways on how to actually structure your study timetables. I'm going to make this video as practical as it can be. I'll try my best, okay? But anyway, the saying that failing to plan is planning to fail, let me forgetting. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah, it's actually true, because if you don't have an actual structure, you and just decide to just wing it through the day, it's gonna be so hard to stay organized or to stay balanced. But having something like an organized study timetable, the whole point is to at least keep the balance. If the balance, yeah. So if you check in my previous videos about like study motivation tips and all those kind of stuff, I always emphasize that you need to be organized, and that's where the timetable comes in. So I've had people asking that, okay, can you tell us that let's be organized, we should be organized, we should have a timetable, but then okay, fine, how do we do this timetable? How do we structure this timetable? And if you're also asking the same question, you're in the right place. So I'm gonna answer that. But hi, if you are new here, I'm Malaysia Kanye. I create inspirational content on faith, academics, and self-improvement. And if that's something that you're into, kindly join the firm by subscribing, and I'm gonna show you you're gonna love it here. I feel like I was speaking too fast. Okay, but anyway, um, before we get into like the structure on how to do the timetable, something that I want you to have at the back of your mind before you approach this whole planning of a timetable is balance. The whole idea is to have everything organized, to have balance. So um, in my previous videos where I shared about how I got 7 distinctions in metric and all those kind of stuff, I always emphasize about balance, about order, like keeping everything organized and balanced. But the whole point here is balance. The main keyword, highlight the term balance in bold, okay? What do I mean by balance? By balance, I mean you want to be able to show up for each and every subject with the same intention, the same way. You having to do one subject or frequently. For example, let's say you do maths a lot of times or a lot of like more often than you show up for other subjects. We don't do that here. So the whole point of a timetable, before you approach it, before you attempt to making your own, first have this word at the back of your mind that the whole goal is to have balance, because I feel like it's not cute having to have 100% in maths, but then your life science or your economics or your accounting or your geography subject is sitting somewhere around the 50s or the 40s. Worst case scenario, the 30s. You get what I mean? Like, you want to keep your subjects organized, you want to keep your subjects balanced. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's actually the main key point here, or the main keyword that you should have with you at the back of your mind. Balance. Like, even like how we're gonna structure the timetable, the whole point is to keep the balance. That's the whole point. And so how I structure my timetable, study timetable, it's a matter of showing up for all subjects, number one, very important, and also being strategic in terms of like how I show up for them. By this I mean having, for example, having a proper structure, like showing up for a practice subject, for example, like maths, physics, and then secondly showing up for a theory subject, for example, like a geography, life sciences, and lastly showing up for a language subject, can either be English or your home language. And then last but not least, life orientation. That's the basic skeleton or the basic structure of how your subjects are organized. Okay, so I'm gonna make this as practical as it can be. And so now I'm gonna walk you through like the process on like how to structure your timetable. So just keep that in mind, the balance at the back of your head, and then in your palm, keep that skeleton or that structure of having a practice subject, a theory subject, and a language subject, and most importantly, life orientation. Okay, so yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so now I need to see if this is visible because now I'm like behind the camera, but it's fine. So anyway, I'll be walking you through this, how to plan this. So I'll be doing it on my Google Drive. Let me zoom and see if it's visible enough. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's visible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. We have 7 days in a week, okay? Okay, fine. We are good to go. We are good to go. So, obviously, the most basic thing that you need to do, obviously, is like getting your days of the weeks in. That's the most basic thing. Monday, Tuesday, and yeah, school doesn't stop during the weekends, so Saturday and Sunday. So, okay, those are your days of the week, right? So remember, I think something to add, maybe depending on how organized you want to be, maybe if you are like that strict and all that, you can also add a column for time to specify times in this column, times of the day. If you like know what way you would be at those kind of times and all those kind of stuff. So remember, I told you to keep this structure in your mind, that have a structure of a practice, sorry, and a structure of, this hope is still visible. Okay, I need to keep checking behind the camera so that I don't lose the visibility. Yeah, yeah. Keep in mind that you have a practice subject, a theory subject, a language subject. I don't understand why it's jumping. Maybe I should stop zooming. It's quite jumpy. Language subject and LO, right? LO. So this is your basic skeleton, right? Oh my days. Maybe I should have done a test shot before I actually do it, because what's going on? Okay, okay. So I'm trying to make sure that it's visible in front of the camera. So this is your structure: practice subject, theory, language, LO. Fine, sharp. Now let's get to it. With times, I won't be very strict on you guys with that. I feel like that's a personal thing. That's something that you need to develop a self-awareness of, in terms of like what time you're waking up, what time you're doing what. So I think I won't add anything in this column. That's for you to find your way through. But anyway, let's start with Monday. So Monday, remember the structure: practice subject. I mean, maybe probably bring like this a little bit closer. Yeah, I think that's much better. Remember the structure: practice, theory, language, LO. That's your skeleton. You want to keep the structure at the back of your mind. So let's start. So the subjects that I did in high school, I was in a science stream. So on a Monday, I would want to have something like, let's say, maths, okay, life sciences, life sciences, and let's say English, right? And on a Tuesday, I would want to have something like physics. And mind you, physics is divided into two parts: there's physics, and there's chemistry. We'll get to that some other time. And then there's geography, and there's my home language is Tonga, guys. Tonga. If you didn't know, but then I can just say slash home language based on which home language you speak. So this structure, as you can see here, um, the whole point is to keep balance. Number one, you don't want to exhaust yourself as well. I don't know how to. When I zoom in, it's too bumpy. Yeah, so you want to keep this structure, like you have like a practice subject. Your practice subject it's maths. Your theory subject is life sciences, and your language subject here it's English. And then the follow-up days, it's simply just a repetition of the same structure. The whole point is you don't want to be doing one subject only the whole day, Because sometimes you get worn out, get worn out. So and the next day you switch it up. You're still following the same structure that okay, physics, it's a practice subject, geography, it's a theory subject, and another home language is also like a language subject. You get me? So you're keeping the same structure to make sure that you're showing up for the same thing. And then next up from there, you simply just repeat the same thing. It's just a repetition. I'll just do it for the sake of completion. That's right. Or maybe I should put my camera a little bit back. Yeah, that's much better. To avoid me having to do a lot of zooming, all those kind of stuff. Yeah. So you have maths, you have life sciences again, and you bring back your English. So remember, a tricky thing, something that you need to also pay attention to. Remember that your language subjects are also divided into things like paper one or paper two type of situation. So you also want to find the balance in those kind of stuff as well. Like you don't just do English and be like, okay, I'm focusing on paper one only the whole week. You also want to switch it up. You want to switch it up and keep the balance. That's why I say that the most important thing about making a study timetable is balance. You want to keep everything organized. So maths and then physics. And physics, again, with physics, it is also divided into two as well. It's physics part and it's also like the chemistry part. So that's also something that I would want you to build independence on. Like I want you to have that self-independence to find a way to balance everything by yourself, and geography and home language again, I'll just say HL. So this whole point, the whole point of this, let me just color code this so that we can actually see that, okay, fine, are we showing up for everything the same way? Are we showing up for everything the same way? I'm gonna color code the same subject with the same color. So how that helps me here is that it helps me see that, okay, how often am I showing up for that subject in a week? So that I can actually find a way to actually have an idea that, okay, fine, is this balanced or do I need to switch it up a little bit day and day? You get me? So yeah, that's basically it actually. That's basically it. And then too dark. Let's lighten it a bit. Okay, that's fine. Then geography. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are 4 days in a week, right? You showed up for your maths, but it comes that twice here. You showed up for your life science, comes in twice, your English and physics and all that. But then additionally, in terms of like structure, of course, that's totally up to you that, okay, what comes first on that particular day, I'll leave that to you as well. Like, I also want you to build that self independence for yourself, right? And then now you check. Of course, usually on Fridays, I'll prefer having something like life orientation subject at the end of the week. The week is heavy. There's also like things like morning study, afternoon study classes, and all that. Most times, my Fridays would be a revision day. Revision day. This one is also a bit tricky, but they don't always. How do I put this? It's quite a very tricky one as well, based on how much you have covered during that week, you know. So, a revision day and also like add a little bit of maths as well. Um, by revision, I'm referring to something like self-test day, having something like self-test or self-assessment using past papers and all this kind of stuff, right? And then on a Saturday, remember we're still keeping the balance, right? We check, okay, fine. how often am I showing up for a particular subject? Let's say maybe you haven't gotten to your revision part yet. You can like squeeze in something like, wait, okay, disclaimer. Let me actually put this in bold. Guys, revision is important. Revision is important. That's what I can tell you. The whole point of learning is repetition. You do it over and over and over again. You need to revise your work. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to revise your work. And on a Saturday, what can we squeeze in? If you check, the pink color, the life sciences hasn't showed up in a long time, so you might want to like squeeze in life sciences day, life sciences on a Saturday. Remember, we want to keep the balance, right? We want to keep the balance. Bring back life sciences again on a Saturday. And then, additionally, what else don't I see here? So on a Sunday, so another thing, there's nothing wrong with doing a subject back to back. But then for me personally, still was a form of like balance and all this kind of stuff. I would rather prefer to add geography here Sunday because geography then shows up. Um, because if you check geography here, it shows up on a Tuesday at the beginning of the week. So you wouldn't want to do life sciences on Sunday and then do life sciences again on a Monday. Remember, we wanna keep the balance, right? So you want to bring your geography maybe like on a Sunday, and then on Monday you get to life sciences, and then here again life sciences, here again, and life sciences again on a Saturday. So that's the balance that I was trying to talk about. But if you check, we have few days for physics. Yeah, I haven't seen physics pop up. It's only a Tuesday and a Thursday. So depending on what you choose to do on a Friday, provide hoping that you go through what's this, you do your revision as well. I would suggest you put your physics again on a Sunday. Though it's quite a bit far, we'll get to that now. Put your physics on a Sunday, right? Because I'm behind the camera and I need to make sure that I'm checking that everything is still visible. This is gonna be the longest video. But I hope it helps though. I hope it helps. So, yeah, having your physics on a Sunday, geography day. But then here in terms of revision, okay, so the revision day, this is where you do also like a past paper. I'm not saying you shouldn't do past papers during your in between. Do past papers in between, but then also have days where you revise your work, you know. Mostly things like theory you forget. So you wanna like refresh your mind, your memory. So okay, we have maths on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um we have physics on a Sunday. So I'm trying to get to see the balance. We haven't had English and home language show up. These are showing up less frequently in the week. I would rather prefer putting in English again on a Friday. Again on a Friday. And then, okay, this LO, this is life orientation. I think I should also write life orientation in bold. Orientation. And if you need tips on how to study LO, I have a video for it. I'll link it in the description box below. How to study life orientation. So you have LO, you have English. You'll want a home language again on Saturday. It's a home language, and let's put it through. And as I said, like with regards to which paper you're doing, you're gonna alternate based on what works for you. Just make sure that you're keeping the balance, very important. And then Home language on a Saturday, life science. Um, what else can I squeeze in? Like planning, like I'm literally doing this on the spot. I'm literally doing this on the spot. Planning is quite a lot. It's quite a lot. So you need to be very present, very fragile with it. You need to like take your time. Okay, let's see. What are we missing? Okay, we have maths showing up one, two, three. Well, because it's maths, guys, because it's maths, you need to do that frequently. You cannot not finish the weekend without touching maths. It'll be very wrong. Between a Saturday and a Sunday, you'd wanna squeeze in maths somewhere here. And then this one will be the outlier where you do it back to back. So you have physics and geo on a Sunday. You wouldn't want to be doing much of English because you have it here. I would suggest, bigger subjects like math. Let me put this physics as chemistry. I can say physics or chemistry for this. It's up to you, really. So I'm saying you need to build that self-independence chemistry. Let's enlarge that a bit for space, for size. Okay. Okay. I just hope all of this is visible in the camera. Um, and let's say you have your maths. Let me see, what am I missing? So you have life sciences showing up at least one, two, three times a week, but I don't like this gap. There's a little bit too much gap. So yeah, maybe on your revision day, you'd also want to revise your life sciences as well to also keep it fresh in your memory. Very important. So you have the theory subject, life science, showing up at least three times a week. You have geography showing up at least three times a week. Those are your theory subjects. That's balance. Okay. And you have your practice subjects. Practice subjects are one of a kind, so you might want to have this maybe showing up more than three times a week. So that's why I would want to add maths somewhere here on a Sunday. Mostly, I think personally, I would add a home language here. But since we have a home language on a Saturday, we don't want to do it back to back. Okay, fine. Let's add maths. Let's add maths. Yes. And then, um, okay, we need another subject because at least three subjects a day. It's fine. I mean, if you're revising, you can like trim it down to a few, maybe like two or something. But for me personally, the optimum one it will be like three times because remember you have morning study, you have afternoon study, you have some time when you get home. So yeah, and then what's missing? So we have maths one, two, three, four times a week. We have choose physics one, two, three times a week. That's a problem. One, two, three times a week. You might want to switch this up a little bit. Unless if we can, you guys, planning is tough. We can shift LO to a Saturday, I think. But no, 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 no. Let's undo that. Let's not move LO to a Saturday because at the end of the week you're exhausted, you're worn out, you wanna do something which is a bit calmer, which is a bit smoother. And I feel like LO fits to that. So what else? What else? What am I trying to balance here? I'm trying to balance the physics. There's no way you're doing physics three times a week only, Unless if we can bring it here. Yeah, let's bring physics here. Physics, yeah. Something like physics and maths. These are something that you would wanna do frequently, okay? And from my perspective, I feel like there's a little bit of balance. We have languages showing up one, two, three, at least three times a week. Languages showing up one, two, three. Okay, English home language three times a week. And we have the theory subject, life science one, two, three times a week. And also maybe some way you can also dip it in maybe in the revision day, depending on what you're revising for that week. Yeah, so for revision, you also want to revise like mostly theory subjects. I would recommend revising theory subjects often because it's easy to forget theory. So you want to like have maybe life sciences or geography on your revision day. That's totally up to you what you put, totally up to you. And then geo 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's technically it. I feel like that's basically it. And then with regards to time, hmm, yeah, with regards to times, I don't have the authority, even the capacity or the right to tell you what to do at time. You need to build that self independence by yourself, build that self awareness by yourself, know what you're supposed to be doing at what specific time of the day. So let me just give you like a proper view of the study timetable. And yeah, I think maybe I can also leave a link to this in the description box below so that you can try refer to have an idea of how well it looks like. So I understand not everyone does science, not everyone does physics, not everyone does life sciences, but it's technically the same structure. It's technically the same approach. Trust me. Let me open a document of a study timetable that I did. Let me close this. Okay, study timetable that I did for someone, for my sister. So, okay, I think the other one as well, she also, is this, also into maths and I think this one is also like, this one is also a similar approach actually. It's a similar approach that, okay, on Monday, you have maths, life sciences, and English. It's still the same structure. And Tuesday, you have physics, geography, and home language. Still the same structure. So here is a much more explanation that okay, on a Friday, I prefer to be a revision day, as in like going through the work you did for that week, look up at past papers, your notes, or watch YouTube videos based on that content, etc. Additionally, you can also do math past paper based on a specific topic, depending on how you want to do it. But I wouldn't advise you to do a whole paper. So at least have three question papers of the same subject, example maths, but of different years, provinces. Do the same question for all three papers. For example, do only question one from all three different papers at the same time. First do question one, of the first question paper, and then question one of the second question paper. Because yeah, basically that's basically it. Those questions they examine the same content but different ways on of approach. So if you guys also want me to do a video on how to revise your work effectively, feel free to let me know in the comments below and I will kindly do so. But I've explained it in previous videos, but then I can tailor the video to be specifically for revision. Yeah. And then this is just basically it. This is just basically it. Even this is what's this? This is a guideline of how to start. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine, but this is the approach that I would use when I was still in high school to keep everything balanced. Revising, like revision, very important. That's why it's even in bold. Really good. Very important. So I feel like that's basically it, guys. That's basically it. This was a very long video. Okay, yeah, but I just hope it helps, and I'll leave a link to this in the description box below, and maybe also a link to these documents as well, these study timetables, and these ones also have like basic YouTube channels that I recommend that you use for specific subjects. For example, for my life sciences people and geography, the YouTube channel I recommend like mindset, and yeah, for the geography Dave, Professor Dave, if I remember well, for life sciences Aslam. I hope those videos are still there. Those guys carried me through, not gonna lie. And yeah. That's basically it, y'all. That's basically it. And then for physics, people like the organic chemistry tutor, Professor Dave. I lecture online. These guys carried me through, not gonna lie. And then for maths, organic chemistry tutor is your go-to guy for almost each and everything that you do in school, whether in primary school, high school, or university. He's just that good. But then, like, yeah, this is just a whole basic structure. I hope this helps. Yeah, guys, that was quite a long video. And yeah, that's basically how you should structure your work. Like the whole point or the whole purpose of making a timetable is to help you find the balance. As I said, like if you check like how I approach like planning this, is like okay, make sure that this subject appears frequently. The subject shouldn't just appear once a week or twice a week. That's not enough. Also emphasizing on like revision days. So I just hope this helps, and I'll leave links of these documents in the description box below. I should actually, like, to be honest, I've been in the process of like creating like a separate folder for you guys, and including all the helpful study tip materials, and like writing my own study guidelines that have worked for me, and hoping that it works for you too as well. So I'm actually in the process of like compiling everything, and all of that will definitely be accessible for free. I'm not selling study guidelines and all those kind of stuff. I'm giving you guys to help you guys succeed as well, like to share what worked for me. And I just hope this helps. This was a very long explanatory video, but that's the most practical I can get. I think it's self-explanatory, like the whole point is balance. So I won't say much more because I feel like it's long enough. It's long enough already as it is. But then yeah, guys, just let me know in the comments below if this is helping. I would genuinely appreciate the feedback. And yeah, and if anyone uses a similar approach, or if anyone has like another way of doing things, feel free to like let us know in the comments below. Tell us what works for you, and I believe that someone out there would actually learn from your way of doing things, from your strategy, because at the end of the day, we're all helping each other. It's all about helping each other succeed, getting them to be productive and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I feel like I haven't done a very long video like this in a long time, especially sitting down on my own, more especially in this playlist of the academic playlist about study tips and motivation and all that. But then, like, yeah, that's the most practical I can get in terms of how to do a study timetable effectively. And remember, at the end of the day, balance, and most importantly, showing up, the discipline. A study timetable won't give you grades. It will only work only if you do follow it. You get me? Because and another thing that's important that I think I need to mention. Remember, a study timetable is not a fixed schedule. It's not a fixed schedule. For one, it's not a fixed schedule, and you can always switch it up to accommodate the seasons, or how your week is structured for that particular week. You can always switch it up. Like, yeah, yeah. I feel like this is the most. I feel like this is the coziest video I've done in this playlist. Like so relaxed, so chilled, very long. But hey, before I say more things and making it like an hour video, let me end this here, and I'll just wait to hear the feedback from you guys if this is helping and if this will help, if this is making an impact. I'll genuinely appreciate that a lot. So yeah, guys, yeah, just leave any comments, like, share with anyone who you think would might find this helpful, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Be a part of the family, and let's keep on going together. I just hope this helps you guys. I just hope this helps. And I think after this, I need to actually do another video because I owe you guys a lot of things. But anyway, let me get to it. Thanks for watching. All the best with your studies, and please don't forget to log in and stay disciplined. Show up even when you don't feel like it, because you will barely feel like it. Motivation fades, but the discipline, the hunger, the consistency, make sure you show up all the time. So yeah, make sure you get enough sleep, eat enough and show up. But hey, cheers, cheers. I think I've said a lot. Hi guys. Hi. Okay, let me be serious. Let me be serious. Let me be serious. Um, what am I recording again? Okay, what am I doing? The video on how to make an effective study timetable. Okay. I know this has been the most requested video, or like the most recommended video basically, in terms of like how to create a perfect or a okay, how do I start this? Okay. Okay, if you're new here, this has been the most recommended video on how to make a perfect effective study timetable. I've done videos on so ah, okay, I don't know how to do this. Okay, take off my headset. It's just it's a test video. It's a test video. Testing. Okay. So where can I clip this? Is on my shirt? Yeah, I can't be holding the mic because I want to use the laptop for, you know. Okay, this is a mic sound test. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a mic. It's a sound test. I'm testing the mic for sound. But anyway, yeah, testing.